Hi, welcome back to Be Rich. Today Vinod is still away, and so I thought I will record one more video with my nephew Sashwath. And there's a very interesting topic I want to bring up today is the demise of the petrodollar. Okay, first let me explain to you what is the petrodollar. On 15th August 1971, the agreement that the US had that people could bring in the dollars and hand it over to them and they would give it back as gold at the rate of $36 an ounce ended. When Nixon said, the dollar is a my currency, but your problem. And he said, I cannot redeem it against gold. And then everybody thought dollar will not be the global currency. But he had a foreign secretary of the state called Henry Kissinger who designed this scheme because at that time the biggest shortage commodity for the rest of the world was crude oil, and crude oil was available only in Western Asia in big numbers. And what he did is he said that the global trade for crude oil will take place only in US dollars, and all these countries would accept dollar as a payment for their crude. And this was more effective because America had the most of the oil companies in the world those days. And they had the technology to dig up for oil and refine it. None of these Middle East countries could dig up oil and refine it. In return for this digging up and refining oil and giving them money, the Gulf countries would also get security from the Americans. And so, from both Israel and Iran, at that time, Iran was in turmoil, and about 5 6 years after this agreement, the Shah of Iran was overthrown. So every Gulf country has 2 or 3 American bases. Even a tiny country like Bahrain has an American base. So the American security is what is saving Middle East. Take in the case point of what happened in the early 90s when my dad was also in Saudi Arabia and we were in Saudi Arabia as a family long before Sashwath was born. There was a Gulf War, and Saddam Hussein invaded and captured Kuwait and decided that he would also annex the eastern province where Saudi's oil was there. He crossed the border and came to the first town in Saudi, and the Saudi army and the Saudi princes fled. And the town where my father was, where most of the Indian refugees who had been let out of Kuwait came running. And that was the city of Dammam and Dahran and Khobar, where there was an American base. In no time, American Hercules planes came in with lot of people's GI and lot of material to defend Saudi Arabia. Then finally, Iraq stopped the invasion and was pushed back out of Kuwait, and the entire operation was run from the city of Dammam and Al Khobar. For me, on a personal note, I remember having a piece of a skirt for a long time in the house. And also, my family was introduced to Kenny G by one of these American GIs who was shopping in Khobar. So there ends the personal story. So all the Middle East nations know that Iran is a big wolf waiting on that side. And the oil areas of all these countries are in areas where Shia population is extremely high. They are being controlled by a Sunni minority. That's what Saddam Hussein was doing in Iraq. Iraq has Kurds, Shias, and Sunnis. The Sunnis are minorities, and Saddam was a Sunni. Today, you have an independent Kurdistan, and Iran practically controls half of Iraq. The eastern province in Saudi also has a lot of high Shia population, and so does Bahrain. So they need the American security. What has happened is an isolated trade that is taking place, where China is saying they will pay in renminbi, and the Saudis will use that renminbi to import goods to build a big city nowhere in the desert near Jeddah. This is the plan. Beyond a point, China cannot guarantee their security nor meet all their requirements. All the arms and armaments of the Gulf have been exported straight from the United States. All the upgrades, all the maintenance has to be done by the Americans. So, this de-dollarization demand because of a one-off transaction is a delusional dream of many American haters, especially on the left. There was a very famous cartoon when I was a kid which showed Indian NGOs by saying, Yankees go home, but we'll take you with us. So basically, as long as there's a big snake in queue outside US consulates in all third world countries, including India, there is no doubt that the demise of the dollar is being set called too early. Chinese themselves do not trust their currency. They have middle classes fleeing to Thailand, Korea, and Japan. The rich are migrating with the special visas granted by the Americans. Those with no money are landing up in Ecuador because there is no need of visa to enter Ecuador and trying to enter America illegally through the Durian Pass. You should understand when Chinese do not want to stay in China, how will China be able to guarantee the success of all these Middle East partners? China runs an authoritarian government, and like Jack Ma disappeared for some time and Alibaba has been crushed. It is possible to crush anybody. So the world does not trust China. This is a convenient transaction where a king wants to build a city and China can supply a lot of materials cheap. And he is using Chinese currency to buy it. India embarked on the same path with the Russians. And within 6 months, the Russians said, thanks but no thanks. We are flooded with rupees, but we are unable to buy any goods from you. And the world is getting divided into two camps. One is the liberal West, and is the authoritarian China, Russia, North Korea, and Turkey. And we know for sure who will win. That is, the Western Democrats will win, but it's only a matter of time. How long this will continue, no one knows. The previous world Cold War lasted for 50, 60 years. Maybe this will also last 50 years, but we know the end for sure that democracy will triumph. So China is not the currency that will replace the dollar. There have been three tectonic shifts in the world. The first reserve currency of the world was the Dutch guilder, replaced by the British pound, where the sun never set on the British Empire. And then you have the mighty US dollar. I'm sure one day in the distant future, the dollar's dominance will end, but it's not today, and definitely not with the RMB. What do you want to say, Sashwath?
I mean, pretty much what you said. It's that there's a blip in terms of something going against the dollar, seemingly going against the dollar, which people have caught on to, and it's became sensational. People are more enamored by the idea of seeing how the mighty fall rather than actually contemplating on whether this news means anything. And I'd say that more than this hurting the US, it's hurting the Saudis. Because if you look at the US, they have been selectively isolating themselves from the Middle Eastern countries and dependence upon them, with trying to find oil in their own backyard, become more self-reliant, head towards a place where they don't need to rely on the Arabs for their oil anymore, or at least not as much of their oil consumption. There's been a shale boom within domestic borders, and they've been engaging in fracking, and they've been constantly looking for land which would be suitable to extract their natural resources from. This is something the US has been doing over the past decade and past few decades actually, and the US has nothing to lose, has not much to lose from this, except for the fact that the Saudis are less inclined to support everything and anything the US decides to do, which is not that bad of a prospect for the independence which the US is buying in exchange for that political capital. So what you end up seeing here is that the US is playing its advantage, and the Saudis are on the back foot and trying to figure out what to do, because the US is now acting more independently. And one way in which the Saudis know that they can get to the US is by going a bit to the right to do some brinkmanship, where they basically say that, look, if you keep treating us badly or ill-treating us, then we're going to go and deepen ties with China. And to some extent, this has worked, where, like my uncle had said, they have made up. And there's been very recently, just 4 days ago, there were many articles saying that the end of the petrodollar is here. And then now, if you actually go and click on those articles, you'll see a correction which says this says nothing about the agreement where the Saudis sell oil to the US and accept US dollars in exchange. All the articles have now corrected it with an editing line on top. So you can very much see the fact that this is more of a strategic back and forth rather than a tectonic shift per se. And like my uncle said, as long as the Politburo continues to rule with an iron fist to the north of India, that is China, we'll end up seeing that people would want to exit and go to a place where human rights are respected. And this is a fundamental societal and social phenomenon which we've seen through different ages in our human history. And this is something which is not likely to change because us as humans desire the freedom to do what we want without the risk of arrest or going against your political masters. And this is another crucial dynamic which most political and economic commentators fail to mention in their commentary on the petrodollar scenario.
And also, you should remember all the companies which are doing AI and technology and even chip design are all American companies.
So long run imports for the Saudi has to be from the US.
US, and nobody can afford to be not so friendly with the US. Thank you for watching Be Rich. I hope you like our presentation. If you did, click the like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the bell notification. If you can, send this video to your friends and relatives and have them take a look. Once again, I thank you for your support for Be Rich.
Thank you.
It's a great privilege and honor that so many of you in thousands have subscribed to my channel and have supported me. I have written 2 books in English, The Alchemy of Money and Ordinary Stocks, Extraordinary Profits. These books are published by us and are ready. If you want to procure a copy, send us a message to the WhatsApp number given below and my team would respond to you. If you want an Amazon Kindle copy, you can click the link below. Finally, those who wish to consult with me can send a mail to berichenglish@gmail.com. Once again, I thank you for your support. If you like this video, press the subscribe button of my channel, hit the like button and turn on the bell notification.